These saguaro cactuses can get rather large. And when they start dying or they start getting old, they'll start dying at the bottom. And quite often if you drive out in the desert, you'll see these that are tipped over because the bottom is dead and it just lost all of its stability. So this being right next to the driveway, it's something you need to pay attention to. Not necessarily a defect or a call out, but something that I want to bring to my client's attention. Also because there is a bunch of bees all around those blossoms this morning. Oh, they're loving that nectar. Well, there's our cactus with all their bees. We're gonna stay away from that guy today. But we're over on the roof surface. We're looking at a HVAC unit, package unit, because we've got a gas line coming into it, gas furnace built into it. There's your exhaust flue right there. But this is a evaporative cooler. It's actually tied right into the same ductwork as the HVAC system. You can kind of see all this together. I don't know what's going on here. This has been screwed into the top. A lot of the insulation that's been placed on the top is already coming off. It's just like a radiant barrier insulation. It's not doing much anyway. Some of this mastic and some of the actual roofing material that they put on top of the ductwork instead of insulating it on the roof. It's going to help protect it, but it's not going to increase the efficiency of your HVAC unit. This is a little bit rough today. The system itself is from 2010, the HVAC system. So we've got 13 years on it, but we're missing our screen or our guard on the front of it to protect all of our fins. You can see some of the fin damage already, whether it be from rocks or hail, anything like that. And our B vent for our water heater inside, I'd like to see that higher with a storm collar to protect all the water from going back into it. We've got about a gallon of mastic around there, so it might be okay. We've got old penetrations that have been sealed up. Those are always an issue or something to think about. The more penetrations you have, the more leaks you could possibly get. So the condensate line is actually coming out, going straight off the roof in the back. Looking at the wood, trying to support the system. We want to check it for balance. That's why the wood is down there, because that support is actually not straight. So it's pretty balanced. I actually carry this little tiny level around with me just to kind of verify it's easy to carry, it's easy to take a picture with. So we're just a little bit off there, but it's not bad. This old gas line, it's really rusted out. Probably due to replace it. Well, at the water heater in the closet, we can see that they've replaced the copper lines in the house. Looking at the plastic lines going up into the attic right there. You can also see it on the back of the house here, going down to the old copper wiring, copper pipes that they've cut off right there. There's no bond on the gas lines here though. Would recommend bonding this gas line. Yeah, it's just as crooked as it looks. Now that's a garage door lock. Good grief. Really cool though. So all you have to do is just hit this. That'll flip that switch over, unlock your garage door, let you open it. There is a good amount of settlement going on this side of the house. We can see all this cracking in the driveway. This is actually depressed from the rest of the driveway. So everything that's, when it rains, all the water is going to pool up here. Probably go into the garage as well. So you can see these cracks are following all the way through the garage, all the way down this side of the house. And then I wonder why the floor is so crooked on this side. It's obviously concealed a little bit, but this whole side drops down like crazy. Somebody was trying to save a few bucks by not having to call an electrician. A regular electrical outlet plug-in on some Romex that is actually damaged right there. Decent little gouge in the wire. Goes into a little junction box here, and then spider webs everywhere. Goes to your exterior lights, goes into the laundry room behind this wall. That's not electrical. That's not the way to do it. Yeah, even the floor is raised up on this side, so the garage door is actually rubbing a little bit. I found out what that pipe is in your walkway. Goes down from your laundry room, heads outside right there. And it terminates right here. Goes under the walkway, well, kind of the walkway. Yeah, that's susceptible to damage, don't you think? Anybody walking in there could hit that pipe. Nope. Could that be a sign of structural movement? Yeah, very well could be. It's kind of going in the direction of the movement of the house, so everything's kind of falling that way. Very well could be. Again with the wiring. Crazy. Please tell me who you hired for an electrician. I would love to know who did the work. It's awesome. Nope. Nope. Open ground. Another open ground. Open ground. Open ground. And it's not working. Open ground. Open ground. This electrician must be rich. Open ground. I don't know. It's not working. Open ground. Oh. And a loose outlet. Nope. Another open ground. Alright, well, it's kind of hard to install proper electrical for ceiling fans if you want to update on a flat roof. I get it, but this wire needs to be concealed a little bit better than that, so it's not so exposed. Yeah, you got some old ceiling fans. It's pretty big gaps underneath the trim here on this house. Just on one side of the property though. Well, here's the only attic access or crawl space access we have. See some of the PEX lines that they replaced. That looks like a bad splice with the Romex right there. Blue and red lines going to be your hot and cold water lines replaced. That's going to be your gas line. Sure looks galvanized to me. As you can see, the pitting starting to form right there at the corner. And your water heater exhaust flue, rigid ductwork for the HVAC and evap cooler systems. Then some of the insulation. We got bad insulation right up on the roof surface, or the bottom of the roof surface. Got a little bit missing right there. I'm not sure what they were working on, but probably get that replaced. That's the right side of this closet. Now if we open up the left side, it's actually got our water heater in the back there, and then the air return and the air filter. Kind of a unique way of doing it. Just cutting right into the duct like that. Do have the air return grill right there, but it's all screwed on shut, so it makes it a little easier to put your filter in over here instead of at the register, I guess. Yep, we got some wobble action going on in the bedroom. This hallway closet. can see how tall the ceilings are. They're about 8 feet. This closet actually goes up into the crawl space of the attic. So it's actually about a foot taller than your ceiling. Interesting. And that's to turn on water to your evaporative cooler up on the roof surface. And these are your controls to turn on your evaporative cooler, the pump, the vent, and the cooling part. You get a fan and you get a fan. Everybody gets a fan in their room. What'd you say? What's that? Cut. No, sir. No. That was way off. Not even close. Much better. How long have you been there? Egress. Egress for windows, 44 inches. Guess what we're at? 57. It's just the way they built things back then. They weren't overly concerned or thinking about egress out of bedrooms when you have a fire in the house. Nor were they thinking about putting smoke detectors, anything, carbon monoxide detectors. We don't have those in the house either. So all of the bedrooms are about 57 inches off the ground. It's not current building code, but this house was built in 1961. You can just see in the garage, you can just feel that part of the floor where it's heaved. It's actually heaved right on this line right here. And I've got my suspicions. A brand spanking new water meter in it. So I'm thinking there was maybe some issues with the water line. When we get heaving, it's usually from moisture underneath the slab pushing it up. So if you see that part that's elevated right along the crack area, it's probably from moisture underneath the slab from a water line break or a leak at some point. Your water meter isn't moving today. I'm going to verify that it's accurate and actually calculating because it's a brand new meter. So I'm going to run some stuff and then we'll go back out and check the water meter after the inspection's over. Well, those cabinets don't look very secure. It looks like it's fallen down. Yeah, it's a little loose. No bueno. Interesting kitchen cabinet design. I'm kind of curious though, if anybody knows what this thing is for. It's just like a little slot on the front of this cabinet. See what it looks like on the inside. If anybody knows what that is, let me know. I'm curious. Old, but really cool. I like it. Crank that sucker up. Yeah. It's working. Americana. Boy, that sounds a little rough. So it's a little bit easier to check these ovens with a thermal camera just so you can get a visual, make sure that they're heating up. Thermal camera will help me get the inside of the oven too, so I can check to make sure that the bake function and the broil function are both operational. We don't have a light working in the back of the oven, but all the rest of it is working good. Anytime you get steam coming out of your sink with the hot water on, it's usually too hot. We got 140. Love to see that at about 120, maybe 125, but 140 is way too hot. Likely what happened with the flooring in this house is they had some old flooring that was thicker, and then they thinned it up. They got some new tile that didn't take up as much space, and they didn't redo the trim. So some rooms, like the bedroom, doesn't look bad. Even the closets, there's not really much of an issue. This side of the house, but the hallways got huge gaps, and they're pretty consistent gaps. They just probably updated the flooring and never did redo the trim work. This old vent's got to be cleaned out so bad. You can't ventilate a bathroom through that. Nope. I've always got to give bathroom faucets, even shower heads, a wiggle when I test them, because the pipes on the inside of the walls sometimes come loose. It's hard to know. I mean, look at how much play we have there. Just how attached those pipes are. And the more this moves around, every time you turn it on and off with high pressure, you're going to get a little bit of movement, and eventually that pipe inside the wall is going to break. It happened to my wife. I know it happens. Boy, that's an interesting connection. This thing is a little bit too tight. Need a little bit of slack in that, but what do we got going on here? We have PEX and copper in the house, but what am I looking at? It's worth noting that around your air conditioner, these little areas are going to get really hot in the summertime. They're going to transfer a lot of heat from the exterior in to your home. As much as that AC is actually cooling it, you're letting in hot air right along the side of it as well. Well, there was actually a note in the kitchen from the gas company saying that it's all gas is back on. It was on the 18th of this year, so about a month ago they turned the gas back on. Well, now that we've had the air conditioning on for a little while and cooled it off, a few degrees cooler than it is outside, we can actually start to see some of the areas where the insulation might be lacking, or it's getting a little bit warm on the ceiling. You can see all those lines are going to be your roof members, your structural boards, and then in between them in the red areas are going to be where all the open insulation is. And according to your attic access hatch, when I poked my head up there, it looked like all of the insulation was up on the ceiling in the rafter bay and not actually on the ceiling floor of the attic. Now this can actually add to the condensation levels up in the attic, moisture levels up in the attic. So you can see all those areas where it's missing. And all those boards that you can see, all those straight lines, that's called thermal bridging. Thermal bridging is when the heat from outside is actually transferred through the wooden members and transfers the heat to the inside of the house. Single pane windows on an older house like this is always going to transfer some heat through it. Updating these windows is going to help keep your house a little bit more comfortable, but it's also a big expense. Most of this home is made out of brick, which is actually going to help keep the house cool in the summer and warm in the wintertime. Now, not all of the house is brick because this is an addition. This was put on a later date, so this is all going to be wood. Wooden walls, they're hollow like that, it means that they're not brick. If we're hitting brick, you know what it's going to sound like. It's not going to sound like anything. But if we go to the exterior, on the addition side, we've got inadequate clearance to the grade. So we have termites in Arizona, and they will find their way underneath that siding and get up inside your wall and cause damage all over your house before you even notice it. Older electrical service panel here on the left side, and then they've added this additional one in the future. The dryer circuit was off today, so we didn't test it. Well, it looks off. I'm just kidding. It's upside down. The whole panel is upside down. That's why the circuits are upside down. So this is actually on, is in the down position, off is in the up position. That's not right. Anytime you see colored circuit breakers like this, it's a Federal Pacific or a Zinsco panel. We don't actually have a tag right there. I can't tell exactly what brand of panel it is, but it's old. and there's no grounding. So I'm going to call out an electrician to at least offer my client an estimate what it's going to be to replace this. The full surface panel with a shutoff, one shutoff switch for the whole property. Get rid of this guy. Get rid of this panel. So at some time in the past, they've installed plumbing cleanouts that go out to the alley in the backyard. We're down in Arizona City, so things are a little bit different than they are up near Phoenix. These older properties are usually going to be, service entrances are going to be on the backside of the house because they had alleyways. And most of our houses in the city now, newer houses, don't have this alleyway back here. So all your service and utilities are down here, your electrical wires going into your house, plumbing, everything but your water. Your water is out at the street now. So that's your original home over here. This is the addition, and this whole thing is falling like that. I don't know if you can tell where the settlement is, but it is moved and it has shifted. Just a little bit. Well, behind the dishwasher and the sink, we've got an access door for the plumbing, I think, because it's on an inside wall, but it's been painted sealed shut. They've got layers of paint on this thing. So if you need to access your drain pipes behind your sink, see, it was open at one point. They just did a bad job sealing it up. That'll give you access to behind your dishwasher or behind your sink, probably to the plumbing. It goes back through the wall here. So I'm looking right at our connectors, making sure those connectors are okay for this old water piping. It's red and blue, but this is the old style of connecting packs with the clamps on it. So this, I think, is actually the water main that comes in, the new one that they installed from the water meter out there. Actually comes through a gate valve up here, goes up, then gets distributed among all the plumbing supply lines right there. One thing I'm looking at is a little bit of water damage below that. It's like it's leaked before. And usually when we get water, there's a good opportunity that we're gonna find termites back here. So how do I get to see in there? Take a look. There's your water. Oh, I see some tubes down there. There they are. Termite tubes in the wall. Oh, this house was built in 1961, so these could be really old. It's just hard for me to tell. Get a little bit better view of them there. Yeah, water stains and termites go together really well. Well, here's something else I don't see every day. It's right above the garage door. There's just a bunch of holes that have been drilled in all the way across the front. What would those be for? Maybe they had a roof leak and they were trying to let water out. Interesting. Also, your garage door isn't sitting quite flat. This area has been raised up. Why? Because we have heaving right there pushing the door up. That's why we have daylight over here, daylight over there. It's because this is higher than those areas. But those bees are still at it. I love this cactus. There's our big old saguaro with all of our bees starting to fly. Nothing like a burning saguaro in May. I just don't really think how it is. Is it inside the cactus? Actually looks like some of these arms are about ready to fall off right over the driveway. Saguaro's seen better